I never planned on finding calm. Honestly, it snuck up on me after 2 wild decades of big city grind. That's how I ended up here, standing barefoot on creaky wood at the edge of Forestmere Lake, watching the sun stretch gold across the glassy water. Name's Derek Rowe. I'm 44, divorced, and I work solo in rural tech systems, mostly satellite networking and emergency setups. After years of gridlock, deadlines, and noisy neighbors, this was the first time in a long time I could breathe without someone yelling or honking. A few months ago, I bought a quiet piece of land just outside of Mariners Hollow, a neighborhood that looks like it was designed with a ruler. Matching fences, weekly inspections, and a homeowners committee that behaved more like mall cops with too much free time. My property? It wasn't part of their map. No fees, no rules, no lectures about acceptable paint colors. Just me and the trees. The lot had been sitting there for a while, forgotten. Overgrown brush, a collapsed boathouse, and a dock eaten by time. The previous owner had moved to Colorado and never looked back. I saw what others missed. Opportunity, not luxury. I didn't want a mansion. I wanted space to breathe. I built a basic elevated cabin with my own 2 hands. Solid beams, storm-proof deck, and a dock that reached into the stillest cove. I called it the Drift. Ethan, my 12-year-old son, thought it sounded like a pirate hideout. We fished, grilled, hiked, even installed a few solar panels to keep the basics running. That first week was magic. Every morning we hit the water early. Every night we cooked over the fire and named constellations. We caught perch big enough to brag about. One evening while teaching Ethan to clean a fish, I thought, yeah, this is it. Then came the flashing red and blue. Out of nowhere, 3 squad cars rolled up the dirt trail like I was a fugitive. 2 deputies stepped out, calm but serious, and asked what I was doing on restricted community property. I blinked, spilled my drink, and waved toward the cabin. Mine, I said, grabbing my wallet. Bought last month. Deeds inside. Apparently, someone had reported me for squatting on Mariners Hollow land. I nearly laughed. I invited them in, showed all my documents, surveys, county stamps, even old maps with handwritten annotations from the last owner. They made a few calls, confirmed everything, and one officer even apologized before leaving. I thought it was over. 2 days later, different cops showed up. Same accusation. I was more annoyed than shocked. Same drill, documents, explanations, shrugged shoulders. But this time, one of them muttered, "This spot's too nice to fight over." That stuck with me. By the 3rd visit, I was less patient. And every time, the same name came up, Logan Barrett, head of safety compliance for Mariners Hollow Civic Committee. No badge, no authority, just a bright orange vest, a clipboard, and enough free time to cause trouble. I started noticing his white SUV parked near the tree line. Once I caught him hiding in the brush with binoculars. I walked right up and asked if he'd lost something. He just smirked and wrote something down. On the 4th police visit, I asked straight up, "Why does this guy keep reporting me for stuff you've already cleared?" The deputy leaned in and said, "Off the record, Logan's got a history. He calls and calls until people give up. You're the first to dig in." And just like that, I got it. This wasn't about rules. This was a power game. Logan wanted control, and when I didn't cave, he pushed harder. I did what anyone with a stubborn streak and a laptop would do. I dug. Public records, property transactions, complaint logs. Turns out my land used to belong to a retired forest ranger named Bill Kernan. I found him in a little town in Utah and gave him a call. He laughed when I mentioned Logan. "That little snake? Tried to buy me out too." When I refused, he sent volunteers to clear my yard and started calling code enforcement weekly. I sold just to make it stop. This was a pattern. Logan targeted anyone just outside his sandbox, tried to force them into the system, and when that didn't work, he made them miserable. I wasn't about to fold. One evening, I was flipping trout on the grill when I heard gravel crunch. I didn't even look up. "Evening, Logan," I said. He stepped into view, clipboard in one hand, sidearms strapped awkwardly to his hip. "Nice day," he said. "Shame you're using the shoreline in violation of community law." "This land's not under your control," I replied, flipping the fish. "You've seen the maps. So have the cops." He stepped closer. "People like you cause disorder. You've called in fake reports 5 times. That's not order. That's harassment." His jaw clenched. You think you're untouchable. I saw his hand drift toward his gun. Not fast, but not slow either. You threatening me? I asked. He said nothing, just stood there, hand hovering. I stepped back. What he didn't know, a motion sensor trail cam had caught everything. I called my lawyer, Jordana Fitch, the next morning. We filed a 40-page complaint. Harassment, armed intimidation, defamation. We demanded $750,000 and a court-ordered restraining order. I also filed a report with the county sheriff. Turns out, Logan didn't have a valid carry license. 2 days later, he was under investigation. The civic committee tried to protect him, until leaked emails showed they knew what he was doing. Local news got involved. The story spread fast. Then, Logan made one last mistake. He slashed my tires. Left prints. Got caught. At the emergency hearing, the judge didn't hesitate. Logan was convicted on multiple counts, sentenced to 3 years. The civic group dissolved his role and sent me a basket of apology goodies. Last I heard, Logan tried to start a yard duty committee in county lockup. It didn't go well. I made a new sign for my dock. Here we grill. We don't call the cops. And now, every other weekend, I host community BBQs for both sides of the lake. Peace isn't passive. Sometimes, you have to earn it. These days, life out at the Drift is exactly what I hoped for. Quiet, real mine. The scent of cedar and charred fish still hangs in the air by dusk, and Ethan's laughter echoes across the water like wind chimes. I never imagined a slice of land and a shack on stilts could feel more like home than any city apartment ever did. But here I am, completely rebuilt from the inside out. Logan Barrett? He became a cautionary tale. His downfall didn't come from force. It came from exposure. I didn't fight him with fists or fury. I fought him with facts, with records, with every little piece of truth he thought no one would ever dig up. Turns out, bullies crumble when you hold up a mirror. Funny thing is, that war turned this little cabin into something more than a weekend escape. It became a kind of symbol. Neighbors started dropping by, not to snoop or spy, but to share stories. Turns out, I wasn't the only one tired of being pushed around by people who confused authority with entitlement. We started helping each other, fixing docks, clearing trails, swapping tools. Real community, no regulations required. I put up a second trail cam. This one not for protection, just to record the deer that come by at dawn. Sometimes I rewatch the old footage. Not the confrontation, but the ones before, me and Ethan grilling, laughing, building that fire pit. It reminds me what I fought for. Not revenge, not pride, just the right to be left alone, to be still. The HOA board that replaced Logan's regime, they reached out, asked if I'd consider helping draft new guidelines that respected personal freedom while keeping things safe. I declined politely. I didn't come out here to write rules. I came to escape them, but I appreciated the gesture. One night, not long ago, Ethan asked me why I didn't just give up when it all got messy. I looked at him, held his gaze, and said, because some things are worth holding the line for. And peace, real peace, sometimes needs a little fire to protect it. He nodded. Then he went back to skewering marshmallows with a stick. That's how I knew he got it. So now, when people ask me what I do out here, I don't say tech work or off-grid renovation. I just smile and say, I'm living, and that's more than enough. Out here we grill, we laugh, we stay. Some weekends, I catch myself just sitting on the edge of the dock, feet dangling over the water, a coffee in one hand, and nothing but birdsong to answer to. No agenda, no noise, just stillness. And it hits me how rare that is. How hard won. There's a freedom in reclaiming your own space, especially when someone else tried to take it. It's not just about property lines or paperwork. It's about drawing a line and saying enough. It's about choosing peace without surrendering to pressure. Ethan's growing up fast. He's even talked about building a cabin nearby someday. I hope he does. What we built here, it's more than just a place. It's a reminder that peace isn't always quiet. Sometimes it comes with grit. Now, every time I see that crooked sign, here we grill, we don't call the cops, I smile. It's not just a saying. It's a way to live.